How did this vast terrain that exists within each one of us come into being? And why does consciousness appear to be the bridge between these two worlds, outer and inner? Science in many ways is a means to answer these questions, though often scoffing at the potential of actually achieving any meaningful conclusion other than through mathematics. Is there a way for us to make sense of our place in this increasingly bizarre universe we find ourselves within? I would like to present to you an alternative approach, that of sacred geometry and symbolism, passed down through the ages from our collective cultural heritage, in the hope that you and me both can stand face to face with the universe and know that we are home. There is a line passed down through the ages that all great teachers spoke of and intuitively felt. That which is in the microcosm is in the macrocosm. That which is here is elsewhere. That which is not here is nowhere. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Let the waters settle and see the stars and moon reflected in your being. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. All sounding beautifully poetic, but is there a scientific basis for such life-affirming claims? I believe there is. We start with an artistic proof of sorts. Let's have a look inside and out. On the outside there is of course other beings like you, but there is green stuff. If we go further afield, we see vast landscapes, ecosystems, eventually leading out to the living planet. Then there is the moon and the other planets and our local star, and all enveloped within the heliosphere. Then lots of space and more stars, out to the vast galactic system, the Milky Way, then to the great unknown, dark matter and dark energy, to the singular universe. So from this one-sided view, some storytellers may have led you to believe you are very small, potentially insignificant. But what about the inside? Because you are very complex. Well, there are organs, which are made of tissues, and all made of these Lego blocks, eukaryotic cells, which are in turn made of organelles. There's DNA and molecules, and the atoms, with each at their core still hydrogen. Then a lot of space, and onto the proton, with some believing that they are made of smaller particles, ending in a unified field of quantum fluctuations. So what we are faced with is, we see incredible simplicity, but as we move into the middle, there is complexity. An assertion made by Neil Torok. I feel consciousness is the bridge between these two worlds. So I would like to overlay some more patterns upon this. We could say that you are the one, and on either side of you there is a multiplicity, culminating back in again to a singular. And I would claim that this oscillatory pattern continues on, one and the many, with a unified field and a universe on either end. So from this view, we could see a correspondence of our living planet and the cell. You could say that is what Gaia theory was claiming. Our planet's ability to self-regulate, no different than a cell. Out further in the area that this covers, we might see a renaissance, that of alchemy and astrology, that the planets and elements are working in situ. And then a theory, in essence proven by Nassim Haramein, that the proton is in fact a tiny black hole. So that's an interesting pattern you might be familiar with. Could it be true? It'd be nice if it was. And now for a more rigorous proof, using this piece of total data that I am very grateful to have the fair use of. It is arguably the only movie that science has ever made. It is the most recent version of the classic Powers of 10 made by IBM. And it is the measurement of all that matters. It measures zooming into everything without you and zooming out from everything within you, with the highest degree of accuracy achieved by science thus far. So what we can do with this piece of art is mirror us in the middle, and then line up Nassim Haramein's black hole proton assertion, and just let it play through, and see if these correspondences actually line up. The inner orbital of hydrogen and the heliosphere. Nice. And then DNA. And then Gaia and the cell. Very good. So let's now take it slower and have a better look. We can start with the organs and ecosystems. The first is that which I feel most have thought about, that are lungs and trees being inverted mirrors of each other. What you breathe out, they breathe in, and what you breathe in, they breathe out. There is a similarity of the neurons and the mycelium mushroom matrix that has shown many intelligent capacities similar to our nervous system, and may well be the brain of this planet. The truth of the mineral scaffolding we evolved as bones, and the source of those minerals that form the Earth's crust. The assertion that all ancient cultures seem that our veins are the same as the rivers that flow, and bringing life in very similar ways. And out to Gaia and the cell, the living, self-regulating Earth, and whether red or white blood cells, known as the average size of the cell on this planet, whether in a mouse or an elephant. Each cell in direct communicative correspondence with the planet as a whole, a Gaian fabric holistic revelation. Now to the circumference of DNA and the Earth's orbit. Normally we think of the Earth's orbit as the Goldilocks zone of Earth's distance from the Sun, normalizing between the two hells other planets persist in. Looks like Goldilocks just got a new addition. We can get to the other planets in a bit. Hydrogen and the heliosphere, no more than the star that it encompasses, is almost completely made of hydrogen. Then a great deal of space on both sides. Here we find support for Nassim Haramein's assertion that the black hole at the center of the galaxy might share some similarities with a proton. But if we go out further to the dark matter halo surrounding our galaxy, one could say that protons are the best candidate for dark matter, because protons have a mass and they do not reflect light, so they are by definition dark matter. A proton is to a black hole what a star is to hydrogen, and both have halos, leading inevitably to see dark energy as quantum vacuum fluctuations in space. To see the earth in a grain of sand, and heaven in a wild flower. To hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. Let's now take an evolutionary perspective upon this pattern, reasserting the high likelihood of this correspondence. It's worth stating that since the launch of the James Webb Telescope, the further we look back, the bigger the black holes appear to be. That of supermassive black holes, but no case for the dark matter halo being any different in size. A new model is coming into view of the evolution of the universe, which is what I am proposing here. The claim is that the above created the below, and the below created the above, to eventually form the within and the without of you. Solar formation. Once upon a time, there was only this. No planets existed. Starting with the below of hydrogen, massive gas clouds formed above, eventually contracting in, that would birth a star, which contracted further, and then expanding rapidly in a supernova, compressing the below to form all the other heavier elements. And then the below gathered together to form the planets above. planets are the elements. The creation of these elements at the bottom is the inevitable creation of planets in the above. Gravitational contraction from the above, allowing for novel compounds to begin to emerge from the below. And they may well still be dancing together as they dance through us. We may be able to re-invoke a usefulness of the older geocentric and yet more complicated perspective. And back to DNA and the Earth's orbit. Another curious thing is from the perspective of the galaxy. This is how we move. A wondrous cosmic correspondence. Out to the orbit of the moon, correlating with the approximate scale of organelles and bacteria. What could be the correlation here with the lunar cycle? A lunar microbiome? Relatively recently, it was discovered that the Earth's atmosphere extends to encompass the moon, and the early atmosphere would have been created by bacteria. Father is the sun, and mother the moon, both crucial to life from its inception. And back to Gaia and the cell, and the Lego blocks that make you and the world. Green on the outside and red on the inside. The chemicals responsible for the relationship without us and within us are the same molecule with a different heart. We and trees go way back. In the beginning, it is said that the world was covered in tiny mushrooms that then became gigantic mushrooms, which eventually became very small again. Dinosaurs started out small and grew to be Godzilla-like creatures. So when mammals came on the scene, they stayed small like little rat dogs for millions of years. Mammals being the next stage in the warm-blooded evolution. Then an asteroid brought a reset in which dinosaurs shrank. And then mammals took to the stage with diversity. Mammals like saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths that then eventually were reset again with an asteroid, leaving us with a smaller type. Tigers and elephants. It's after this 12,000-year-old event that human civilization starts small. Excluding the fact that we can't build the pyramids today, and the very high likelihood of an Atlantean pre-asteroid civilization, we'll just make it simple. For whenever we started small. we slowly grew in size and technological capacity to deal with more and more people. To where we are now, maybe in part having lost our way. Our world is more a reflection of our devices than of human needs. Hopefully this presentation can help bring us back down to earth. Grounded. Seeing self in other and other in ourselves. And maybe realizing our true nature. What these two lads at least were trying to teach. You are far more grand than many a storyteller may have led you to believe. There are many patterns that one can overlay upon this, and one is the universal hierarchy. Typically the pie chart is used to show distributions, and here we see that the universe is mainly dark energy, then dark matter, and a very small percentage normal matter, of which itself can be broken down in a similar ratio, mostly hydrogen, then helium, and then a tiny portion of the other heavier elements. So pie charts are great, but the fractal pyramid might be more useful in this area, and could be used to tell a story of process. Not all dark energy turned into dark matter, not all dark matter turned into normal matter. But that is not what our science classes claim. But we can say that not all hydrogen became helium, and not all of them became the heavier elements, and not all that dust became spherical planets, and not all planets bear life. The number of planets is still unknown that bears life. But life started as bacteria, and not all of it became eukaryotic cells of fungi, and not all of it became animated animals. And for that we say that life started in the sea, and not all of it left. Now the world is mainly populated by livestock, and we humans are but a small fraction of the animal kingdom. But the tip of the pyramid, due to human activities, are these two small dots, which is every other kind of animal and bird. So they have a lot more to teach us now than we have to teach them. What are the chances that something 10 million times larger than you would line up with something 100,000 times smaller than you? That something 100,000 billion times larger than you would line up with 1 billion times smaller than you? What are the chances that something a million billion times the size of you would line up perfectly with something 10,000 billion times smaller than you? You are the center of the universe, a reflection of all of creation, and the most unlikely coincidence imaginable. And so is everyone else.